Welcome to KingsCrowd's Reg A plus pitch session. I'm your host, Andrew Field. I lead the steering committee at the Global Equity Crowdfunding Alliance, or GECA, which we're otherwise known as. At GECA, we and our supporters, we share one mission and vision, and that's to enable a truly borderless equity or investment crowdfunding ecosystem right across the globe. Look, I'm thrilled to be your host for today's session. It should be a really interesting session. And as a reminder, this is KingsCrowd's Reg A plus pitch session. And joining me as analyst and our judge for the session is KingsCrowd advisor and partner, Scott Kitun. Welcome, Scott. You're just on mute, I think, Scott.
First time on a panel, Andrew. No, just kidding. Thank you very much. It's great to be here. So far, this event has been awesome, and the pitches have been really good. So I'm excited for the Reg A pitch event.
Yeah, it should be a great event. Thank you, Scott. And as our analyst, Scott's going to ask the panelists some questions after the pitch. And if there are any from the audience as well, we'll try and get to those too. Also, I should mention that KingsCrowd are giving 3 lucky viewers the chance to win 3 months worth of KingsCrowd Edge. I'm going to announce the winners of that at the end, so stay on for that. So this session is all about highlighting companies raising larger rounds under Reg A+, giving investors the chance to see how scaling startups are bringing institutional level opportunities to the broader market. Now, each of our 5 founders today have 5 minutes to pitch, and then we're going to follow that up by a few minutes of Q&A led by Scott, as I've already said. So let's get straight in with our first founder. I'd like to introduce Jason Bang, CEO of Future Cardia.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Scott. And thank you, KingsCrowd and our investor community. My name is Jay Bang with Future Cardia, and we're developing an implantable cardiac monitor. This is a $40 billion a year problem, and we're here to address it. So we're part of a Stanford StartX program. Sandhill Angels invested in us, and part of the Johnson & Johnson's Accelerator and Y Combinator. We have a very strong team, over 100 years of a combined expertise, all in the implantable cardiac devices and cardiology. We also have a very strong investor base. So all of our investors are an expert in the cardiology, remote monitoring, and cybersecurity. So another strategic advisors that are part of our team. He had a huge exit, obviously, $13 billion last year. So as a implantable cardiac device, we were able to raise $16 million to date, all from angel investors. Over 200 physicians and industry reps have invested in us. And we also have 39 successful implants. These are human patient implants. So heart failure is a $40 billion problem with over 6 million patients suffering. So imagine you have a bad heart and you don't know what to do. Do you wait or do you go to the hospital? So that is the big problem. So patients with this bad heart is not pumping well. So imagine your heart, the pump is not pumping. So your fluid is slowly accumulating in the lungs. So now you're kind of drowning from inside out. So you have 2 choices. Do you go to the ER or do you wait it out? And both are bad choices at this time. And this is the same thing for the physicians. What do you do when your patient calls? Do you send them to the ER or do you have them come to the office? The wearables are ideal for short term, but not used as a long term. And there's a gold standard right now is to implant something inside the heart in a cath lab. Very accurate, but expensive, complex, and low adoption. So our approach is to put it under the skin in a 2-minute office procedure. And this is a huge market, $6 billion a year business right now. And this is our device. This is an animation, but we already have a device and we implanted in 39 patients. We're measuring ECG, heart sounds, the mechanical side of the heart, and oxygen saturation sensor is already in the works. Medtronic right now is generating about $1 billion a year and just on the atrial fibrillation, just the monitoring side. When they expand this into heart failure, which we are going to be, and this will be a $5 billion market. And unlike other products in the market where you compete with 10, 20, even 100 competitors, this device is what we call oligopoly, or in some cases, a monopoly. So think of it like an NFL franchise. You don't have to win the Super Bowl to be a profitable organization. The implant is very simple, and this type of surgery has been done, I would say, about 4,000 to 5,000 a year. numb up the skin, slide it under the skin, and you're done. The follow-up is also the same. The data goes to the phone, to the cloud, and the physician will look at remotely. We have a very strong team. As I mentioned, we implanted 39 patients already in last year alone, and we are ready for the FDA submission. And this device has a reimbursement. So this is also a profitable proposition for the patients, physicians, and hospitals. We also have a competition, but they have few of the features that are not able to incorporate. The revenue projection is pretty strong, but not that much different than any other implantable cardiac devices. So it's very much aligned with what the competitors are doing. And we also have 4 patents filed, and 2 are actually being written as we speak. So at the end of the day, we're going to have 6 patents under our belt. We're raising $15 million, already raised 2 this year, and $4 million will get us to the FDA clearance, which is the hardest time for companies like ours. The submission and the clearance is the most difficult task, and we'll be achieving that within the next 6 months to a year. And this market is very hot. CardioMEMS got acquired for $455 million, Endotronix $1.6 billion, Abiomed $16 billion, and there's 2 other startups that have over $100 million in funding. And my name is Jay Bang, and this is Future Cardia. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jason. That was perfect, almost bang on the 5 minutes, which is great. Amazing pitch, packed full of interesting information. Scott, I think you've probably got some questions.
Yeah, first I want to tell everyone who's in the audience, if you have questions, I will read them aloud. You can go ahead and find the tab on your Zoom. It says Q&A, put it in there, and I'll read them aloud as we go. Jay, great to see you again. I feel like this is what, pitch number 5 I've heard over your career.
Yeah.
The first time I saw you doing the pitch, you were just conceptual. We were talking about this is a device, what it'll look like, and now you've implanted it in 39 people.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. What does it take? What's the pace on getting new patients? How is that working? Do you have to find the patients yourself? Are they submitted to you from the hospital? Like, how does that work to get your initial tests and patients in?
Yeah, so these patients are struggling already. So physicians and patients are kind of in the a limbo. It's like, we can't do this, we can't do that, and we provide the solution for them. And then, of course, patient and the physician agrees to a value proposition for them, and then we provide the service. So the problem has never been the patient, because we have over 6 million patients suffering from this. The question is, does the physician and the patient want to try this? So that's where the big barrier is. But 39 implants, and most of them are done in one, like we did 10 implants in one afternoon. That's how fast we do it.
Incredible. So I'm just trying to understand, when you go through this process, I'm just going to assume you're going to get through all the hurdles, because you have so far since the first time I met you. You're going to get clearance. You're going to be in hospitals. What is the thing that you need to spend money on, other than obviously continued R&D development? I'm sure you're making the units smaller and more succinct and scale it, but like, truly, is it a sales force? Is it getting into hospitals and education? Is it, commercials on TV, like the Viagra commercials? Like, what is it? What are we spending money on to get you to the place where we're on the 7, 14, 26, $80 million track that you've predicted?
Right. So this is actually a business-to-business sales. So we don't have to do commercials. So these are physicians that would believe in our product. So that's, we have to be competitive, of course. So we'll be marketing to the physicians. So I would say about 80% of that will be sales deployment, so sales reps, and another 20% will be in the research and development. Another thing, this is not done in the hospital. This is done in the office and outpatient surgery centers. So hospitals are great if you need like heart transplant or some orthopedic surgeries, but something like this are done in the office and outpatient surgery centers. So a physician will go to the surgery centers, patients are there, all prepped and ready to go. They will implant about 5 in maybe 1 hour, hour and a half, and they're done. And the patients are happy with it because they don't have to wait all day and night for this procedure.
So I've got one question from the audience, and then we got to wrap. And also just want to make sure everyone knows, one of the questions asked was, are you raising on KingsCrowd? KingsCrowd is not a platform to raise capital on. We're the platform that does the ratings and advisory and education. So if you are curious to learn more about how KingsCrowd views companies like Jason's, you can go, I believe, through your event account, your free KingsCrowd account. You can go to the resources button on Zoom and actually look up Jason's company and see how KingsCrowd has evaluated the company there. But we're not a platform for raising capital. The question that was asked was, how do the 39 implantees, what is their response? How have things, like, what are they reporting back? How has it impacted or at all changing what you're doing?
Oh, big time, because these patients all got therapy because of it. So imagine you're like sick and not knowing what to do, So we don't have the data. The physician can help you other than just go to the ER, we'll treat it for that moment and then see what happens. So that's what they're doing. So we implant the device, we have the data. So out of 39 patients, 10 patients got direct therapy out of it. So we got that because not everybody's super sick.
Right.
10 patients. And of course, some of them are very, very sick patients. So we also had some bad outcomes from that disease, not from the device. So overall, it's been very positive.
Awesome. Jason, rooting for you as always. Thank you so much for your pitch.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
See you.
Bye.
Back to you, Andy.
Fantastic. Thank you, Scott. That was fascinating, Jason. Great presentation. So now we're going to move on to our next pitch. I'd like to welcome David Kaplan, CEO of the curiously named Death & Co. David, your 5 minutes starts as soon as your presentation comes up onto the screen. I'm assuming you do have a presentation.
I do, yeah, and I see what you guys did there by putting me after the life-saving device, and now we're going to.
That wasn't deliberate.
And here's how the other people fare.
Yeah, I don't believe you guys. Well, thanks so much. It's such a fun privilege to be here. I'm currently raising on Dealmaker. I do a lot of webinars. Very few are with other kind of folks that are raising, and it's always a pleasure to see other entrepreneurs. It's really such a privilege. So now for something completely different. So as mentioned, I'm Dave Kaplan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company called Death & Company. Gin and Luck actually is the parent co to Death & Co, and we are in the cocktail business. So we started this year with 4 Death & Co locations. Cocktail Bar is the first one open almost 20 years ago now in New York. We now have 4 Death & Co locations throughout the country, and it has been a wild year for us in terms of growth that I'll get into in just a moment here. But you can see in the 2025 column in purple over here, so far this year, we've opened Close Company Nashville, which is our new brand, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. Our first hotel, Municipal Grand in Savannah, which I'm actually coming to you live from our hotel today. Absolutely beautiful 44-room hotel property, which we co-own the IP, and we are the management company for. Close Company Atlanta, which is opening next month. Close Company Las Vegas, which has already opened in the Venetian. Fashioned, our education platform, which we have launched with a sponsorship deal from Citibank. Death & Co Seattle, which is now pushed to the end of the year. And next month, we're actually opening up our first international properties, Death & Co Melbourne, and then in December, Death & Co Brisbane. Gives you a little bit of an idea of sort of the breadth of the company. But to sort of zoom up to 40,000 foot view here, as I mentioned, Gin and Luck is the parent company of everything that we do. Death & Co is the halo brand. It's what we're best known for. And so we do market the raise as a Death & Company raise. However, the investment is in the parent company, and as a shareholder in the company, you co-own everything that we do. Our new brand, as I mentioned, Close Company, Death & Co, which is sort of our aspirational brand as mentioned, and then our new hotel division. Everything underneath really acts as sort of spokes in our marketing flywheel. So we have the Death & Company Marketplace, which is a direct-to-consumer online sort of retailer, one of the most robust out of any of our comp set. Our content creation, we have the largest Instagram following of any bar anywhere in the world with over 330,000 followers. Our books, of which we have 3. Our second book is the only beverage book to ever win James Beard Book of the Year Award, which is sort of like the award that sweeps them all with James Beard. Our first really defined the category. And as I mentioned, we're now in the online education space as well, where we think there is a ton of opportunity. And then we're have already expanded into ready-to-drink cocktails, and we're kind of going further this year and working on a consumer packaged good launch in the grocery space. We've been able to achieve all of this through this low capital growth strategy. Growing in the hospitality sector is typically a fantastically capital intensive endeavor. We have done, we've sort of overhauled this or spun it on its head by really throwing our weight around. So we now capture the value that we believe we create in these buildings that we go into by leveraging our relationships with the developers and having them fund the majority of our build out and even opening costs. And so we did this with Atlanta with almost $1 million in TI. We did this in Nashville for opening there with about $2.5 million in opening cost, subsidized or paid rather from the developer. And we're doing this again in Seattle with our Death & Co there with $2.2 million put up by the developer. And this makes sense for them because they have a lot of co-tenancy to fill. They want kind of the feather in their cap or the attraction that we're able to bring through press and footfall, all of that great stuff. And then we're able to further leverage our brand by leaning into licensing deals, which is no money up front, great payout to us, and then a percentage of revenue, our new hotel division. And then, what I think of as kind of cute, clever, or scrappy endeavors like fashion, where we work to find that capital through some creative sponsorship. And all of these things that we do help kind of inform that marketing flywheel and really create this wildly robust customer ecosystem that very few others in the industry have. This allows us this phenomenal trajectory that we've been able to see. Everyone loves these sort of hockey stick graphs. That's how we show the growth and intention of our company. And what we're doing is we're really marching towards an exit on a 3 to 5 year timeline, showing the incredible value, both in terms of our brick and mortar operations and the year-over-year growth in the IP value and how we're able to kind of leverage that. This is a little bit of a view on the old model of doing opening doors versus the new in terms of investing typically $2+ million to open a brick and mortar. Now we typically invest anywhere from $350,000 to $500,000. The cash on cash returns that's able to create is phenomenal. And you can really only do that once you get to such an established place as we are. So the work's been put in, we're there. A little bit more on the hotel. Obviously, there's a ton more that we're not able to go into in this short timeline here. So I'll bring it to a close pretty quickly, and we can get into some Q&A.
That's brilliant. Thank you, David. Scott, straight over to you for some questions, please.
Yeah, great presentation. Kudos to you on a case study on brand halo. You go into an industry like real estate where they don't totally understand the value of brand and you put it in front of them. Brilliant job. When did you figure that out? Because I feel like I've definitely heard of Death & Co. I'm waiting for the Death & Co. Chicago. I get ads fed to me for it. I know I have heard rumors. I've talked to a few folks that I think you've talked to. We're excited for it. The first 8 years of this, I got to imagine you were not different from like Boca Group and what's the Rifle Coffee and others that have like kind of balanced brand versus restaurant, but they were separate. And when did you figure it out? How did you figure out that if you flipped it over and you put your brand and your reach first and you became an attraction versus establishment and then grow brand, that you had the power to negotiate lease? Because it seems like based on your financials, that is the pivot point where your business goes from like, really nice and cool acquisition PE to like really potentially quite large.
Yeah, no, Scott, it's a great question. Thank you. So the first true showcase for us where it was presented to us as truth that we could see and feel, or that we could see rather than just feel, was when we opened up Death & Co. Denver, which is inside the Ramble Hotel. So the Ramble Hotel is a small 50-room boutique hotel property. We don't own that hotel. So that's done with who's now our partner on the hotel division. But, he said and showed us every day, he's like, we scrape just below the Four Seasons Denver rate. And it's not because of room quality. The rooms are nice at the Ramble, but they're not Four Seasons nice. We scrape just below their rate in terms of competitive rate and occupancy because of the environment that we're able to create in this lobby experience. And you walk into Death & Co. Denver, and it is the entirety of the lobby. You have to walk through our kind of thriving bar restaurant to check in. And so, we realize that's a unique and competitive advantage. And so we can do that. And that's how we can grow into the hotel space. And that's also how we can capture that value, because we're bringing value to the entirety of the real estate the future real estate sale of that building. So with developers, we can say, hey, we understand our value. Why don't you pay us to open there and front the money or put up the money to open these things? So it took us a while to lean in there, but it's been transformative for our growth.
I would have paid to be with you when the first guy said yes. That had to be incredible.
I took one big step and got $400 per square foot in TI, which we won't even accept today. That's not even like, now it starts at $700 to $800 per square foot TI, tenant improvement allowance, if they're not putting up the entire cost. So yeah, we understand our value. We get to be picky. I think the truth of it is, as entrepreneurs, we can dictate our terms no matter what, and know that it's not going to be right for everyone. We just finally got the confidence to do it. And yeah, it's an exciting and transformative time for us. And I also have to plug, we're closing our Reg A round October 30th. So the timing of this is really, really exciting for us. So thanks for having us on.
Of course. Last question I've got for you is, what percentage of your business right now is being spent on this primary part, which I presume is the location sites, versus, books, clothing, brands, materials, drinks, things? Because I do feel like you're building, I would say, the most modern example of an experiential lifestyle business. And
absolutely.
I think this is the future of most e-com, is that it's got a landlock and then it's also got e-com. So I don't want to diminish or appreciate the potential long-term value of selling all the other products, but what percentage are you spending your time making sure that the foundational part of this business is here, and then we can spin up new products as we go? How do you view that, I guess, is a better question.
Yeah, that's a great question as well. A couple things. One, the brick and mortar ops, that's the foundational piece of our business. So that's about 80% of our time. If not a little bit more. And the way that we're able to do that is from the simple who, not how approach of doing business. So we have a retail division. We work with an excellent third party. We accept slightly lower margin. It is a profitable part of our business, but just barely. But that's because we realize it's a really strong marketing piece. It's a strong differentiator. And if we were to take it all in-house, or when we sell the company, we're proving the scalability of it. And so that's how we approach these other aspects or verticals. I think you look at Momofuku as a great example of someone who
I was literally going to say that as an example. You end up in Target, and then all of a sudden you've got standalone stores on Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, I mean, Momofuku is interesting because right now over half of their value is in their CPG line. So I don't think we're ever going to get that spread, but we want to leave so much meat on the bones where you could take this in a lot of different directions and really have the #1 global cocktail culture related company, cocktail culture related brand. That's our goal, and we're awesome. We're doing
that's
okay.
great. I'm gonna have to interrupt now. That I think you come to an end anyway. No, that's fantastic. It's perfect timing. I'm just waiting for Death & Co. London to open, so
we're working on it.
We're going to now move swiftly on to our next pitch. So thank you very much, David, and please welcome Andy Green. Andy Green is CEO of MyRadar from Acme Astronomatic. Andy, welcome. Your pitch time starts as soon as your presentation appears on the screen.
Excellent. All right. First of all, thanks to KingsCrowd for having me here today. Hopefully I can say something interesting that you guys find nice to hear. So MyRadar is an invention born of necessity. It was 2008. I had just sold my first company and was well into my second, with an aircraft tracking website and a mobile app that were making some pretty decent money. But one day while eating outside at a restaurant in Orlando, I realized that our aircraft tracking app would make a great standalone weather app. So we spawned it off as a free mobile weather app with some ads thrown in, and it took off like wildfire. So we quickly pivoted to weather, we basically wanted to participate in this industry that was, worth roughly $14 billion back then. So we took the idea and ran with it. We learned a lot about what users find useful in a mobile app. Notifications and alerts were one of the bigger ones. Before long, we realized that there's just a ton of weather data out there, and we just needed to find a way to make it more useful to users. So to kind of advance this to the next level and get away from being just an app company, we started building out our data science team to conquer rain alerts. This was kind of one of the first challenges that we took on at processing all of this big data and turning into something valuable. People really loved the rain alerts. They were proactive. You no longer had to go into the app and check it. You could basically let the computers do all the work for you. And seeing how popular they were, it was a huge eye-opener. It confirmed our assumptions on the value of processing all this data, and it kind of gave us a sense of direction for where we wanted to go with the company. It kind of showed us that we had this unique appeal with our users, you know, and that was something for us to kind of take and run with. And for the record now, our science team consists of about 4 PhDs. They're all experts in their field of artificial intelligence, atmospheric sciences, climate physics, and it includes talent from MIT, NASA, and NOAA. The company continued to grow back then at a fantastic pace. This here is a quick map of all the users we have here in the United States. We are global, but this is where most of our users are based. So there's roughly 8 million users here shown. And there's still a very large untapped potential from this existing user base, let alone from new users. So we knew it was time to aim higher. We realized that we had a great core capability to work the research problems and turn data into something useful. And so we started pushing the limits with domain-specific AI to tackle some of these difficult problems. We also went after government contracts to use AI to help tackle their weather challenges. And the contracts that we got with them were great for funding our research and development. On top of that, we saw a really great opportunity in building our own satellites. Having a satellite constellation would greatly enhance our data and alerting capabilities. It would allow us to gather additional unique data sets that we would then turn around and feed into our AI processing. It would allow us to generate new products and services that would, and also to enhance our existing ones. And, you know, on top of that, we'd be able to trigger alerts from space. Having that kind of orbital view gives us a really great insight as to what's going on the planet below. There are also a lot of DoD applications that spawn out of the constellation's functionality based on the sensor suite that we have built into that. We did launch 2 Pathfinders in June, so that successfully proved out our inter-satellite communications, and it kind of cleared the path for automating our full constellation. So for the numbers, we've got 15 million active users annually. We have about 7.2 million in annual recurring revenue and app subscriptions, and that's starting from 0 in 2022. So all that ARR started within the last 3 years. We did 10.5 million in total annual sales last year, and that's more than 80 million in total revenue since our inception when the company first started. So far, we've secured about 3.9 million in government research contracts, including from NOAA, the Air Force, NASA, and other agencies, many of which will turn into full products that will ultimately be sold back to the federal government. And again, that's also since 2022. One of the major contracts we have now is an AI-driven 4D nowcasting solution for the Navy. Gaining traction with our enterprise customers has been really nice lately. We have one of our larger customers is Allstate Insurance. We're providing AI-driven hail nowcasting as well as other weather hazards, and that's a mid-6-figure annual deal. And you know, predicting hail accurately and giving advance warning, that's a pretty significant unmet challenge in the industry at the moment. They're up for renewal, and we're very gung-ho about it. We have several issued and pending patents, and we continue to file new patents on our continuing innovations. We've raised about 1 million in our first Reg CF in the first week. So that was hopefully, I think, a record at the time with Start Engine. We had incredible response from our users who love the service so much that they all kind of chose to become investors. We've raised $9.2 million to date. And much of the investment comes directly from MyRadar users who love the app. So what will we do with the investment? Essentially, we're going to complete our satellite constellation and build out and launch the first 50. We'll generate and sell new data products and alerting, and it also provides a pathway for significantly greater revenue opportunities for the company. We'll refine our current and pending products and our alerting products to be sold at scale, and we'll conduct a large-scale marketing campaign for the app. That way, we essentially, you know, continue to solidify and grow the app's user base, and that kind of provides a good, steady cash flow stream to support operations. And there's still really a lot of untapped potential with additional subscriptions and upsell features, including AI integrations for our customers. The app also strategically serves as a data visualization platform for all of the enterprise data products and services that we create. If you are interested, we invite you to check out our progress on Start Engine. We're very good and diligent about updating the campaign regularly, and you can kind of follow along with our progress there.
Andy, that's fascinating. We've just hit the time limit there. Fantastic presentation. Scott, over to you for some questions.
Yeah, great job, Andy. Off the top, what would you say is like the spread or the percentage of allocation of time and resources to consumer MyRadar app users, to government contract military use, and to what I expect to be a pretty huge part of your business in the future is the commercial and insurance?
Yeah. So it's about 75% and then 25 on the remaining. So 75% towards the consumer app. It does provide the bulk of the good, consistent revenue for the company, but the enterprise and government sales are really growing rapidly. And with each new contract that we win, there's strategic hires and scientists that we bring on board to kind of tackle the contracts.
Right. So I guess one question, this is kind of redundant, but how do you differ from AccuPoint and Weather, like all the other different ones who've been out here forever? What is the specific thing that you did to turn the system a little bit? I'm going to assume it has to do with satellite somewhat, but like, tell us a little bit about how you're positioned to do this next generation of this, where a lot of others who had really cool consumer products, but were not able to actually turn it into a larger scale business.
Yeah, so that's actually, some of the other weather companies, for example, the weather company out there, they do have a pretty successful enterprise business. Our app in general, I think, was just kind of focused on showing extreme weather at the time. It was very basic. It showed the map right off the bat, showed the weather and the radar for the user's area. That's kind of how we came up with the name MyRadar. And that we just found really appealing to somebody. It was very quick getting right into the weather. And we realized that somebody who's, standing in line waiting for a coffee or something like that, it's very easy for them to jump into the app, take a look at the weather really quick without a lot of hassle, and we wind up generating ad revenue from that. And the proactive alerts that we have, again, the rain alerts were one of the more significant ones. Going through the effort to have a really good rain prediction algorithm that didn't have a lot of false positives, it really highlighted with our customers how valuable the service is. I mean, being able to give somebody a 20-minute heads up as to when the rain's going to start before they actually get rained on, we just found out that was very significant, and it was a good, effective use of that device in your pocket. And I think that's something that we learned as a small company more so than some of the bigger guys.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think I'm blanking on the name now. It was like Dark Sky or whatever that I used to use and rely on golfing. We're always looking at it. But like, to your point, they all kind of become redundant, and then they're not super well targeted on notifications, and you end up turning it off. So I think the big part here is that you're good at this. One area that I think you've got a huge opportunity that I'm curious how you view is, regardless of what political side people are on, there is questions around the global warming effect, and you're seeing it in California with flooding and fires. You're seeing earthquakes in places we haven't seen earthquakes in forever. The insurance PE system around monetizing predictive insurance is as big as it's ever been, and it's probably projected to 3 or 4x over the next 5 years. I would imagine that you've got that circled 52 times on your whiteboard. Yeah. How do you view yourself playing in that space? What is what you're looking for to be 5 steps ahead? What are you trying to solve for so you can go back to the insurance companies and say, I've got this to sell you, you don't have it?
Well, it's a very good observation. I mean, there's a lot of political uncertainty with regard to, consumers and climate change, but the insurance industries know very well what the risks are. And one of the things we have going for us, really what the insurance companies are looking for is a way to mitigate risk and mitigate cost. And advance notice is one of the ways to do that. The contract that we have with the Navy is a very forward-thinking and novel approach to being able to predict, in their case, clouds, where will they be in the next 4 to 6 hours. But the same process that we're developing there works for hail, and hail is a significant cost factor for insurance companies. And so just being able to give, customers a 10, 15-minute advance notice that hail is coming, give them time to bring their cars inside and get, mitigate the risks in some way or another, that's a huge cost savings for an insurance company. And, the longer we can stretch that out over time, we've got some top scientists in the field. I mean, we managed to get one of the top 2 AI machine learning scientists from NOAA, thanks to the, unsettling nature and foundation of the current government situation. We also just nabbed another PhD from NASA just a while ago. So we're able to snatch up some of this, incredible talent that's really anxious to solve some of these problems. And we're really well equipped to deal with it, probably more so than some of the other companies that are out there.
Very exciting. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you both for the Q&A. That was really good. Great presentation, Andy.
Thank you,
we're now going to move on to our 4th pitch. This is brought to you by Sandeep Arya and Dave Segal, who are CBO and CIO, respectively, and from Naqi Logix. Sandeep and Dave, welcome. You're free to put up your presentation, and the 5 minutes will begin as soon as we can see it.
Thank you. Let me know once you see the presentation.
Yep, we can see that now.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Hi, everyone. My name is Sandeep Arya. I'm the Chief Business Officer at Naqi Logix.
And my name is Dave Siegel. I'm the co-founder and chief innovation officer.
Awesome. What I really want in everybody in the audience, I'm sure all of you have a mobile phone. Just take out your mobile phone and just unlock it. I'm going to assume that you just did that and you know that how easy it was, right? Just take out your phone, unlock it. However, if you think of it, this is really an issue and a problem for more than 2.5 billion people who need some form of assistive tech. They are struggling to interact with technology. And this number, according to World Health Organization, continues to grow. It will be around 3.5 billion people by 2050. In addition, the digital world around us continue to expand. We are having new interfaces to interact with it, from touch to voice to eyes and so on. And it is the gap between human and devices around us continue to increase. Think of it from the inclusion perspective. The people who are disabled, this costs a lot, almost 7% of the GDP for many nations, which translates into trillions of dollars in terms of productivity. And that is a big problem. That is the problem what Naqi is here to solve. What we are really looking at is a solution which can help people to interact with the devices around them, ranging from your computer to your mobile phone, to your thermostat, to your television, robotic arm, wheelchair, you name it, all voice-free, touch-free, camera-free. And it doesn't stop, or it's only where we started with the accessibility. It's not there. It's beyond that. Imagine yourself in the field with the gloves on, or the first responders where your hands are busy, or if you're playing games and you need a third arm when you're managing or struggling to manage things even with the two hands. How do you do that? And all of this continues to grow into something when we are able to pick up the human gestures from the face, whether you're smiling, you're frowning, you're upset, and start inferring that from the Naqi neural earbud and start interacting through that personalized AI agent in your ear. This opens up the market, which is huge in terms of $2.6 trillion market, ranging from AI, gaming, AR, VR, assistive tech, smart defense, and so on. And Naqi is looking to aim and secure $3 billion of that. So the product that we have is comprised of three things. First, the Naqi neural earbud, which is nothing but a very simple earbud that you see and wear. It comes with the biosensors and it captures human bio signals such as your eyebrow raises, your jaw clenches, smiles, mouth open, mouth closed, and any subtle head tilts. Coupled with Naqi's patented invisible user interface, which enables controlling the devices or interacting with the multiple devices without any touch, without any screen, or without any voice. And the Naqi Hub software, which then connects with the interface or interfaces with the devices around you, whether they are the thermostats in the house or your computer or mobile phone in your pocket and so on, without taking them out, without looking for the remote control, without looking for the switches or keyboard and mouse and controlling them. In order to really see that how far this technology can go, what we can do with it, we try to set a new standard. And let me ask Dave Siegel to explain what that standard was. Dave.
Well, thank you very much, Sandeep. A number of months ago, while competitive brain implant companies were demonstrating the ability to either send an email, browse to the internet, pay a bill, play a game like chess, we wanted to set a whole new bar. And that was really what was the hardest, most complicated thing we can do. And what we came up with is the ability to fly a simulated 737 in a leading flight simulator called X-Plane 12, a full 3D cockpit from taxiing to takeoff, getting to altitude in this 737 using absolutely nothing but a single neural earbud from Naqi Logix as input. And the reason why we did this is I was convinced if we were able to have a quadriplegic say, fly a 737, there's nothing they couldn't do, whether it be productivity, whether it be applications such as Photoshop or even AutoCAD. The sky's the limit. So what we're really offering is not just productivity, but it's really freedom for those 2.5 billion people. So again, back to you, Sandeep. We did it just
Thank
to
you.
show you.
And this freedom was then further recognized and validated and still being promoted. So Inc. magazine said that this could actually rival leading brain implants. We have won multiple awards, starting from the Time recognizing as one of the best invention to the Edison's Gold Award, and then multiple CS Award winner, the Fast Company, and many more. This technology is completely patented. We have 28 issued patents, many more in pipeline, but these are global patents. And it is all backed up by world-class team, starting with Mark Coetzee, who is our CEO. He's a 30-year serial entrepreneur with 2 exits of unicorns, and more than one of them sold for $1.8 billion. And our vision is to become the universal standard to control devices. At this moment, we are raising crowdfunding, and we have done $10 million in the past, of which 50% of that came from friends and family and private placement, and another 50% came from crowdfunding. This time we are raising $15 million, and it is currently live on Start Engine. I invite you all to join our journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Dave. Straight over to you, Scott, for some questions.
Yeah, it's incredibly fascinating. There's a bit of a wild west on who's going to discover or invent the next UX. You've got Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook believing that it's ocular, and obviously Neuralink with the chip. I don't think it's super complicated. People don't want to have a chip put in their brain, at least not now. I'm curious on the beginning, what are the differences? What are the limitations of wearable versus implantation? And then my follow-up question, because it may or may not impact that answer, you've chosen to create a UX, I would assume, that you believe becomes the baseline that others build upon. The acquirer of whoever acquires you sort of leads the game. How do you think of how far we're going to push wearable technology versus how important it is that it conforms to a certain UX that we think people will actually take to? Because like similarly, like we're all conditioned for Apple and mobile swipe. That took a long time to get there. The next iteration is certainly not seemingly going to be hand gestures and things like we probably thought in movies. So,
guys, we've got 2 minutes to answer those questions, just to let you know.
Yeah. And an excellent question, Scott. And it's always about adoption. And I'm coming from a world, I was at Samsung for 12.5 years before I joined Naqi, and I did all the consumer electronics. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Building the habit is not easy. And that is why we have chosen earbud as a form factor, which you see billions out there, people are already wearing, and there's no additional, exactly, and there's no additional so-called training required how to wear it. And all the gestures that are used here are your normal natural gestures. So our AI engine is able to predict, able to take the data in, exactly understand what the intent is, and then take it from there. Dave, anything to add?
Yeah, a few things, Scott. I would say you threw in a couple things there, but for instance, the earbuds that you're wearing right now, let's say if your phone was in your back pocket, how would you call your wife or a loved one or a family member without touching your phone or looking at your phone? No voice commands, etc. That's what Naqi brings to the table. Also, when you look at ocular tracking, I would just suggest to anybody to use ocular tracking for an extended period of time. When you use the small muscles, you get ocular fatigue. I call it googly-eyed.
Just because we only have like a minute, I'm just curious, what, if any, is the limitation of wearable versus implementation?
Well, I would say not so much the limitation. They're both very comparable. For instance, I could type between 60, 65 characters per minute natively without predictive logic or swipe commands, and really use applications like CAD or Photoshop just by looking at the screen and playing contemporary computer games. I just shot 7 under par at the new golf game, PGA Tour 2K25.
Good for you.
Just 7 under through 9 holes with the earbud. So it's not that, but I think it's not a limitation. It's additional value. I think that you might get on an implant, a brain implant with somebody who's truly locked in. But if somebody isn't truly locked in, which has been like 90% of the implant examples, the recipients, I think they could do very, very comparable things without the hole in your brain. And in some cases, maybe some new capabilities such as that invisible user interface
Love
that Sandeep was mentioning.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. That's a fantastic answer.
Thank you very much, Sandeep and Dave. That was a fantastic presentation. We're going to move on now to our final presentation of the day for this session. Please welcome Mike Ring, President and CEO of Old Glory Bank. Mike, it's great to have you here. Looking forward to hearing your pitch.
Thanks so much for having me.
And we'll your 5 minutes is going to start, as I always say, as soon as we can see your presentation. So there you go. Your 5 minutes is starting now.
Super. Thank you. Folks, I really appreciate you having me. We're a freedom economy bank, and we're blessed that we're the premier freedom economy bank. We are the market answer to debanking and government snooping. And if you haven't been paying attention, I think President Trump has definitely brought it to the highlight. And we started back in 2022, where we bought a 120-year-old FDIC insured bank out of Oklahoma. And then 5 months later, we quickly deployed the best digital first platform. And because of the hard work of the team, we've had a little success. We quickly added customers in all 50 states. We grew deposits by 2,000%. We have the lowest cost of funds in the industry of less than 1%. The industry is 2.24%. And our customer acquisition cost is the best in the industry. And it's because we're a technology company that happens to own a bank, and we have decommoditized banking. And it all starts with our great partners. They are some of the most powerful voices in the freedom economy. They believe in the Constitution. Folks that you know, Secretary Carson, Sean Spicer, John Rich, Larry Elder, and we've been blessed with some success. So we've raised $50 million to date. 40 million of his friends and family, but I bought out of friends and family right now. My wife and I are the largest investors at Old Glory Bank, and it's not even close. And we recently did a Reg A beginning this year for 35 million, of which we've done 9 million. So we have some room left for you all. Here's a graphic of our deposit growth. I think it's the best, and we've recently been named the fastest growing bank. Here's our business banking solution. We add customers across the country in business banking. I always say retail banking is drive for show, putt for the dough. Margins are made in business banking. We have one of the best online solutions. The easiest money to make in banking is when someone uses their debit card. That's the interchange fees. Everyone talks about it, and our growth has been record as well. And it all starts with product, and customer service. You've got to have every product of the big banks, and we do. 80% of our retail customers come from the big bank. Every commercial you see on TV about a big bank feature, we have, and we've only been at this for 2 years. So the steady state is there, from 2 to 3 day early deposit to 40,000 free ATMs. We have it. Same thing with business banking. We have the best features of what the big banks have, more so than even the regionals or the community banks, because online banking for small business is our niche. But we didn't stop there. The biggest friction point for online banking is cash in. We have an Old Glory cash in product. You can walk into one of 88,000 locations and deposit cash. Only about 2 other banks are even close to us. We have Old Glory Pay. It's our version of PayPal, but we don't cancel people if they buy something in the Second Amendment or if they have a conservative view. We have Old Glory Protect. Everyone talks about first responders, military protectors, but we actually do something. You bank with Old Glory Bank. God forbid you die in the line of duty. We show up at your house and give you $100,000, and it's completely free. So our accounts are free, and our Old Glory Protect is free. We have Old Glory Alliance. One of our customers said, if you're the Freedom Economy Bank, GoFundMe cancels people. What is your answer? So we started it. We don't hire consultants. We don't do focus groups. We just listen to our customers. They ask for it. We do it. Same thing with online home loans. With all due respect to Rocket Mortgage, our home loan online solution is better, and our people love Main Street. All starts with, as I said, product, and customer service. We have a call center in Durant, Oklahoma, not offshore. We're probably the smallest bank in history. We have a call center because you got to pick up the phone in 7 minutes, or you got to pick up the phone in 10 seconds or less and handle the call. Plus, we have a VIP program around the country. All that's pretty good. I'm pretty proud of the team, but we are launching in January, in Q1 of next year, or next gen, where we will be the first bank, and this is not even close. We will be the first bank to unify crypto into daily banking. I encourage you to go to our website at oldglorybank.com. There's a video where I show you the entire UI, and you're not going to believe what we have. To put it, compare us to the other 50 state digital first banks, there's not that many. You've heard of Chime, 13 years, 2.3 billion. They're still not profitable. Vero Bank is a third smaller than we are, 1.2 billion, nowhere near being profitable. SoFi took them 13 years to be profitable, 2.4 billion. We're going to do it in little more than 3 years and spend less than 40 million. So I'm very blessed to lead the team, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Love it. Love it. Who came up with Old Glory as a name? I got to start there.
One of my first investors.
Brilliant. I hope he's still on the advisory team.
Yeah. And what's so great about it, and you said it, Scott, like those 3 words tell you, when you can tell your brand and what you stand for and what you do in 3 words, I think it's one of
you picked up a portion of the market right off the bat. No, I appreciate that. So jumping right in, because we're up against time here, and I want to make sure that we get enough in here. You said, as banks know, like retail is great. It's put for show. Dough is in business. You saw what happened with SVB and others, and it opened kind of a door. Still hasn't really been filled. I think that there's a gigantic, small to mid cap business in America run by people who probably are of your same demographic that do not get banked, or if they get banked as like a second or third customer. No one treats them with respect. I would assume that's your target. What kind of products do you have are different than the others that are not serving them, that will give you the ability, other than Old Glory, to get them in the front door and keep them there?
Well, I think the steady state is that every existing banking product that exists at any bank, we have at Old Glory Bank, from home loans, business loans. You can send a wire to anywhere in the world. But our next generation of banking, where you'll be able to move money on and off the blockchain. We will have a stable coin. Thanks to the Genius Act, only banks can issue a stable coin or a regulated entity. And I always say it's the blue state trap. No one talks about it but me. Even if you get authorized to issue a stable coin under the Genius Act, and I think you're 18 months away before that happens, you still need a 50-state money transmitter. You still need a money transmitter license in all 50 states, and you cannot get that. Hawaii, Illinois, New York are not giving money transmitter licenses to decentralized finance companies, and that's why we believe banks have a head start. And the big banks like Chase have spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're nowhere close to us. You go online, oldglorybank.com, you will see what we're doing, moving money on and off the blockchain. Liquidity access lines. People who have coins do not want to sell them. We can give you a liquidity access line in seconds with the right LTV and the right interest rate. You will be blown away, I humbly submit.
So, okay, I'm going to switch over to, I assume is what you have to do to win is AUM. We got to get assets under management, bring money into the bank. That's what we're going to do. And then you can fulfill, you're left on the slide here, digital first financial institutions, Chime, Vero, SoFi. The difference between you and them is that their cumulative assets right now start with a B, yours is an M. How do we get to the B? What's the plan to grow beyond those who just naturally love the Old Glory brand? There will obviously be people on the other side who find Old Glory to not be so glorious. So you're playing a very clear game, but you've got a huge TAM. So what's the plan to get a B next to the M's?
Well, I wish it was something more magical, but it's just, unfortunately, it's about capital. A bank, like an insurance company, like a broker dealer, needs to have capital for their tier 1 leverage ratio. We are limited right now at our size. We can't go any higher than 235 until we raise more capital, but we have shown that all I've got to do is open the spigot and money comes in, and it's really starts. We're very comfortable serving half the country. We're the Fox News of banking. They're the most profitable, well-watched network, and it's not even close. We'll let them be in the red ocean. We're in the blue ocean. So all we've got to do is raise capital, and we will continue to grow because the model works. Product, and customer service. And oh, by the way, we love our customers. And when you lay around that we will be the main street solution for crypto. Most people don't know how to get money off the blockchain. They have to send it through Plaid. They have to do cards. We bring it all. We've taken the view, start with the bank account, layer on the services and products, including blockchain, and it's a winner. And I'm really proud to lead the team.
Very smart. Cool. Great job.
And thank you, Scott. Thank you, team.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Mike. Again, fascinating, and thank you to all the presenters today for the great presentations. So much detail, all very interesting. I certainly found it fascinating. And Scott, did you want to say any final comments just before I sum up? And
no, just great job, everyone, on it. It's fascinating. I am a huge fan, obviously, of crowdfunding and a supporter of crowdfunding. Reg A is, to me, the future of this industry in a lot of ways, because there's companies, as you saw today, who are well developed. They've got capital, they've got a plan, they've got experience, and they need real capital. And I think this is the segue for investors to access small to mid cap businesses before they become larger. I think it's really fascinating. These companies were literally, all 5 of them were a fantastic example of like, I would say, much more de-risk upside investments. You've got money.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Scott, so much. And thanks again to the founders for giving us a closer look at their Reg A plus raises. This session's really highlighted the scale and ambition of the companies who are leveraging this pathway. Thanks again to you all for participating. And before I go, I just wanted to announce the lucky winner of 3 months of KingsCrowd Edge is Jonathan Adrade. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Jonathan. You'll get details of how to claim that, I think by email. So that concludes our Reg A plus showcase pitch session with KingsCrowd. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the next session for founders looking to build their next Reg A raise. Thank you, everybody.